I'm not wrong. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm also
I'm
not
right.
wrong. I'm Chris Yee.
Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. In the middle of our argument, where Chris is saying something that's just not correct. All right.
Libel.
Personal life choices. That's all I want to say. Personal life choices.
Here's what I would like to do. First of all I need is for 42 of you to subscribe to our channel so that we can have 300,000 subscribers. Ooh. I have the live thing up here. Nothing will happen. I almost went and bought a single balloon with 300 on it to make Chris happy from the Homer Simpson.
Kenny's going to run in here with an air horn.
Yeah. Oh, man. But you just couldn't find a
no,
balloon.
I didn't want to put that kind of effort into it.
Sharp. Because sharpieing on a balloon always sounds so nice on the ears, you know.
That doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't bother me.
Well, you're
Anyhow,
yeah, sounds don't really bother me.
If you subscribe and we reach 300,000, we'll do a contest to commemorate it. Okay.
Amanda says Chris is always right, so I'm Team Amanda.
Good job, Amanda.
All right.
Good job.
We also have a contest going on here for Mosaic, a story of civilization. So this is a pretty good contest because you're getting a Colossus pledge. This is the biggest pledge that you can get. This is a very big game. I'm very much looking forward to playing it myself. I believe currently we're scheduled to play it in the Summer Spectacular this year. It's coming out. A big, giant, sweeping game with tons of miniatures. In fact, that's the question. To enter this contest, you need to email us at contest@dicetower.com and answer the question, how many hex tile miniatures are featured in the deluxe edition of Mosaic? This is for everyone in the world except for Middle East and South America. Sorry, just sometimes that's how that works. But, like I said, I'm still waiting for, I like Civilization games in general, the 4X style. This one looks like it's pretty straightforward, which is what I'm looking for in a game. So check that out and you can win that contest.
Subject line, history. I wonder why that is.
Because I didn't say it, right?
No, just because
we now
it's
only
a game
need
about history.
41 subscribers.
Yes, it's gonna happen at this rate.
We're doing math backwards.
We'll get there.
Subtraction.
Other things in the news. I'm going to the World Series of Board Gaming this coming September. So if you're going to that, the Dice Tower is sponsoring the Open Playroom, and so I'll be there and also talking to people. I'm going to be doing some commentary and videoing. So if you're going to be there, it'll be a fantastic time. I look forward to seeing you there. I think that's pretty much it. I should mention, well, you know what? I'll mention that a little bit later in the episode. Let's get started.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
I'm Stella here from Maple University. Today we're talking about one of the escape room games that is from the op that is the Goonies. Well, with One-Eyed Willy's.
Escape with One-Eyed Willy's Rich Stuff game.
So I can never remember the title, sorry, Tarrant.
Yes. It's part of a series of escape room puzzle narrative types of games that the op has been bringing out recently, called Coded Chronicles.
It's really awesome. Despite of I can't remember the full title, it is a fun escape room game with a little bit of slightly different mechanics than the others.
Yeah, it resolves its puzzles through. There's 8 separate booklets, each corresponding to a character in the game, and sometimes the characters come in or out of the game based on the plot. And you've got one who just looks at everything. There's one book that relates to the codes. There's one that relates to gadgets. There's one that relates to using items on other items, and they all fit with the different characters. So it lets you swivel the narrative in a different sort of way. If like one character's the one who's going to use things, it lets you split the books up as well.
Yeah, and each book has got like a number. Each character has got a number, and then the item has got a number. So you combine the number, look it up in the book, and there you go.
And there are some tricky little puzzles in there too.
There's some easier one to start with, but I think it gets harder pretty quickly. But yeah, recommended this if you like escape room type of games.
Or if you really like the Goonies.
I was gonna say that. Thank you for stealing my words.
You're welcome.
And anything else there?
No.
That's it. So, the Goonies. Play. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Good morning, Board Game Breakfast. My name is Amanda, and I am here today to talk to you about a game I'm really excited to play in the future, and what I am doing to deal with all of that excitement in the meantime, to use up that energy and scratch that itch. So for me right now, that game, one of those games, is Tales of Iridia. This is a storytelling role-playing game that's a long campaign that I'll hopefully finish that can play up to 4 people. It's this huge open world, similar to or made by the same people as Zaya Project, and I'm just really looking forward to adventuring around in this little fantasy world. But I gotta wait a little while. So in the meantime, what I'm gonna be doing is, so I've already played this game. I've played all of it. Destinies. It was a great game. And so now what I'm actually going to be doing to scratch that storytelling itch is Destinies is coming out with a way for fan-made stories to get into the app. So I'm preparing myself for it. That's actually also not quite here yet, but it will be soon. And when it's here, I'm going to, because I've invested a lot of time and energy into designing and printing a 3D insert to hold all 3 boxes inside the base box, and then, of course, painting a lot of minis, a lot of tiny, tiny minis. And so I'm going to be working on a story wherein my friends here, Larry, Mo, and Curly, will be competing for the affections of all of these tiny minis. And I'm going to be working on that and fleshing it out. And anytime I start to feel sad about not being able to play Tales of Iridia yet, I'm going to start working on that story to get myself through. And hopefully it'll be fun, and I'll get to play it with my friends in the meantime. So that's what I'm up to. Hope you're having a great breakfast. See you later.
Okay, it's a little slow going. We're down to 40 subscribers.
We'll get there. At this rate, breakfast is going to have to be 2 hours long.
It's going to be one of those exponential curves right at the end.
We won't stop. Hold it hostage. Okay.
Wait, the Destiny's fan scenarios are up now in the app? Oh,
Ooh,
my productivity is
exciting.
going to go down.
Oh, sure.
I hope they're good. I hope there's some really good ones.
Yeah, that's the problem. You might play a really meh one. How did the fan episodes... But you need the cards, so how do the fan episodes work?
You just... No, it's all just digital. Like, they just create the scenarios in the app. It uses the same...
Use the same
maps
cards.
and the
they
cards and
combine
stuff.
stuff together how
it's
they
using
want,
the
and then they
same
write
map,
their own
but just
story.
different stuffs in different areas?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm excited about that.
Okay, so we're talking about 20 years ago. We're talking about Lord of the Rings Confrontation, which, incidentally, I just played on Saturday.
Really? This is a 2-player one, right?
It is a 2-player one. Well, what happened was Alex was here, and we played a new 2-player game, which was terrible. So I always have to, like, recover from that.
Palate cleanse after that.
And for some reason, this was on my mind. I now know it was on my mind because of this breakfast. That's why I was thinking about it.
Oh, but
and
you didn't realize that?
He's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And so I brought it out. We played it. Now, we didn't play there's 2 versions. This is the version here. This is the original one from Cosmos and Fantasy Flight. Then Fantasy Flight released it in 2006, I think, in a big, giant, ridiculously unnecessary Ticket to Ride box, which is the one we have, of course. And they doubled the characters. So this is you guys have not played this.
Have not.
You should. It's amazing.
Done.
It is a 2-player Stratego-esque game. And you each have 9 pieces. So the good guys, I'm just going to call them good guys. I know that some people are like, well, we're not sure. Good guys versus bad guys.
It's Lord of the Rings. It's pretty clear.
I once was yelled at for saying good, bad guys. I was like, all right, fine. Anyhow, Frodo, you need, the board is based, has 16 spaces. And it's built like a diamond. So you have space, 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 then 3, then 2, then 1.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the game, you have your 9 characters. You have 5 starting spaces, and then your other 4 start in your home base. Each player does that. And on your turn, you can move forward. That's it. You can't move sideways. You can only move forward 1 space, and there can only be 2 of your characters in a space. If you move into an enemy space, you both reveal there's special abilities on the characters that may or may not go off, and then you play a card from your hand. You add the card strength to the strength of the character. Higher one kills the other one.
Okay.
But then you can't play that card again until you've played all your cards, which happens in like 1% of games. The game's going to end probably before you played all your cards.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Do you have them all in hand at once?
You do.
Okay.
Here's the deal. The highest strength on the light side, the good side, is Gandalf. He's a 5 strength. The highest strength on the dark side is the Cave Troll, which is a 9.
Oh.
The dark side's cards go, the bad guys' cards go up to 6. They have like 1 through 6, and the good guys go 1 through 5 numbers. But the good guys have more special abilities, and their special abilities are better, I think.
Okay, so you feel like it's balanced.
It's very balanced. All the good guys do is get Frodo into the enemy space, into Mordor. Doesn't matter how many people are there. He just has to get him there. The bad guys win if they kill Frodo, or if they get 3 bad guys into the opponent zone. Any 3.
Sounds
really
neat.
good game.
Okay.
And then everyone has special abilities. Some people can attack sideways. Frodo can retreat if Sam is with him. Sam can take the spot of Frodo. The good guys have at least, like Boromir is on the good guys, and he just kills whoever he fights, and himself, which is great. Where's that cave troll? I'm taking him out.
Sure.
You know, it's really well done. It's very thematic, too, because of little things like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's even like a rule where you can go through the Mines of Moria, which lets you sneak an extra space. But if the Balrog is in the space in between, you instantly die. So I'm probably not going to sneak through there if the bad guys put a piece there. And they're going to put a piece there, but it may not be a Balrog because they know that you know and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
So what the Fantasy Flight version did, though, was they made everything bigger. The pieces were like this small. Now they're this big. They also gave them double sides, so there's an alternative set you can use.
Sure. They did that with Nexus Ops, that same type of thing.
This is a fantastic game, has really stood up over the past 20 years. And I'm going to make the call now that I was thinking about it, that I really feel like this is going to be reprinted at some point by somebody. I can't see why it's not. There's not many games I think that stand up very well. This one definitely has. Maybe when the new series comes out.
Do you know when Fantasy Fight reprinted it?
2006.
2006. So it's been a while.
It has been a long time.
been
The Fantasy
okay.
Flight nowadays is busy doing things like stuff no one cares about. Am I wrong?
No. You're talking about the company that ruined Elder Sign, so yeah.
Are you still bitter about that?
There's
There's a ton of Elder Sign now.
X-Men.
There's a, oh, you mean it? The X-Men was so bad, you mean?
Yeah, the
Yeah, the
X-Men
X-Men one was like Elder Sign.
All right. Well, I don't disagree. All right. Anyway, that's 20 years ago. Lord of the Rings Confrontation, and now we're down to 39.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, today we're talking about Three Sisters. If you don't know what the Three Sisters are, it is a way that indigenous people and the Native Americans have been gardening for centuries. Basically, there is squash, beans, and corn. It is a way of gardening those 3 things together that are all mutually beneficial. Each one provides something that the other one needs, whether it does something to the soil to make the soil better, provides some kind of pesticidal effects that are good for the other plants. Basically, they all benefit each other in different ways. And of course, we've got to take that to the next level with modern gardening as well. And that's what we're doing in this game, is we are planting these different gardens that are all mutually beneficial. And you're trying to make these different combos that you can, by planting up one, it's going to help the other, and that one's going to help the other, which is going to help another. You're setting up all these different combos. It is a roll and write game, and it's a little bit on the heavier side with lots and lots of decisions.
So, as you guys know, Ryan and I like to talk about things that we're trying to do to achieve better health. And since this is about gardening and vegetables, I just wanted to say a piece of advice that I had heard that actually really helps when it comes to what you're eating. Sometimes we focus on eliminating when really we should just add. So, add more vegetables, and you will naturally, through time of that, eliminate other things to make space for that. I'm a huge salad fan. I am lucky. I love salads. But so that's just advice that I was told that has actually been very beneficial for me. Instead of focusing on eliminating, just add something good so that way stuff naturally eliminates itself.
Start with the Three Sisters.
Yeah.
Yes, like I mentioned, this is a roll and write game. A lot of roll and write games tend to be on the simpler side. This one was full of great decisions, though. This one made me think constantly about every decision I was making because I was trying to set up combos that down the line would trigger more and more effects. And so you were thinking ahead constantly. You were never like a short-term game. You were playing the long game from the very first roll of the dice.
Yeah, this is a game that you could definitely accidentally cheat in, like, to not help you, right?
Yeah.
You could accidentally not take actions that you're supposed to have because they just, like, combo off of each other so much that you could hurt yourself on accident in this game. It was so much fun, guys. Just so much fun.
Yeah, we recommend this highly. It was a lot of fun. It was quick, but at the same time, it was rich.
Yeah. If you want to hear more from us, make sure to find us on Facebook or YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye guys.
Hi, this is Amber from Board Game Blitz, and you might have noticed from some of my previous segments that I've been super excited to get my toddlers into board games. They've played 11 complete plays of 4 different games. There's Go Away Monster, Hungry as a Bear, Tidy Up, Nibble Munch Crunch. And I've made segments for all of these as they've come up, and I'm planning on making more once my kids play more. But that's the problem. My kids don't always want to play board games. What's wrong with them? They like doing other things like their other toys and puzzles and reading books. So, naturally, I decided to make a book for them about board games to get them more into board games. I teamed up with Rachel Kramer, the artist from Semi-Co-op, the webcomic, and we're making a rhyming illustrated children's book called Board Game Day, and I'm so excited to finally be able to read it to my kids. Well, actually, I've been reading the digital version on my phone, and they actually quote parts of it. So cute. But I'm excited to get a physical book, and I know there are other parents like me who love board games and want to share it with their kids, so I'm going to run a Kickstarter this summer to publish the book as a board book. You can check out my website at ambivaldez.com/boardgameday for more info and to follow along with the process. But for now, I wanted to show you something that we've been working on. So the book is about having a board game day, so obviously in the illustrations there's going to be board games in the shelves behind the kids. Look at that shelf of opportunity there with all of these board games that you can fill in. If it were my shelf, it would look like this. Whoops, wrong shelf. If it were my kids' shelf, it would look like this. And you can see some of their favorite games there facing out because they put those games away after they play it and they like having them easy to reach. But what do your kids' shelves look like? What games are your kids super excited to play at Board Game Day? And yes, this might secretly be another excuse for me to put more games on my wish list for my kids when they're older. But let me know what some of your kids' favorite games are right now, because I want to put more games on my wish list even though I already have so many. Anyway, thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye!
All right, what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, we're continually putting up the still Spring Spectacular stuff. Each day, one thing, a replay from that. That's almost done. I think next week will be the end of that. Or maybe this week. I'm not sure. What else is happening this week? Tomorrow, you're going to see a live play of All-Time Wrestling. Yeah!
What is that?
It's WWE. Or WWF. I'm not sure.
At the stars that they have in this game
are all from the WWF.
From when it was called WWF, yeah.
But I still think you call it WWE even in hindsight.
Even retroactively.
I'm not sure.
Things I know nothing about.
Yeah.
You know why they changed it from WWF to WWE?
No, I don't.
Because the
Wildlife Federation.
The Wildlife Federation. they made them change it.
They were not.
And it actually is good for them to call themselves entertainment because now they have an out for everything.
Sure.
That's entertainment. When you saw me run over that guy with the car, entertainment.
You mean, Macho Man soap opera.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that's happening tomorrow. All right. Today I'll be back with a Q&A at noon, so I'll talk to you all then. And we got lots of reviews going up this week. Me and the kids are reviewing a game called Pizza Master. I'm continuing my series of all the fixins with King of Tokyo this week. You guys are doing that very boring game, right? Hansa
I think we're
Takanika.
actually going to change that out.
No?
Yeah, we might do that later.
Oh, okay. Never mind
Something,
then.
maybe.
I saw that on the schedule. Now it's gone.
Yeah, I'm gonna change that. I'm actually gonna
there
do
might be a trading game.
I'm actually gonna do a solo review of Red Rising finally.
Oh, that's what you're doing this week.
Chris is still playing Red Rising.
Yeah, Cult of the New over here.
Cult of the New. Well, that's fine.
Cult of the Colorful.
Termite Towers, I'm taking a look at. Unknown Planet is probably my biggest review of the week, but the biggest review we're doing this week is Marvel Dice Throne. We're doing, I'm not in it, but they're doing a Foursquare review of it. And then I'm going to go through all the different characters and show you, if you already are a fan of Dice Throne, just how the new characters work. And so I'm also doing my top 10 games from 2F. And our big top 10 this week, which is still going to be me, Z, and Mike. The A-team is prepping for their top 100. Is that next week or 2 weeks from now?
Starting next week.
Next week. Working hard on it. I think mine's done.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm interested. I know nothing about which games would be in the top of it. But we're doing our top 10 games every aspiring designer should play. For better or for worse. What are these games? Well, we'll do that Thursday. So lots of stuff coming your way. Let's keep moving.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're looking at the Wizard of Oz Adventure There's going to be 6 of these scenarios you can go through. The first one's not a spoiler, because as soon as you open the book, you're going to see this. On a turn, you can move 0, 1, or 2 spaces, any of the characters that you can move. I can also move the farmhands on this one. Then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to take an action, either complete a challenge, or you can give a card to somebody, or take a card from somebody, or you can do one of the actions on the board. I can also give up cards and discard these to move more. After I've done whatever it is I want to do, I would draw 2 cards from this deck. Then I would draw a random encounter, which will normally in this scenario move the farmhands back and make the animals unhappy, etc. And then the next person would go. If I ever have more than 6 cards at the end of a turn, I have to discard down to 6. In this scenario, I'm going to lose if all of the animals are unhappy and I need to make another one unhappy and I cannot, or the twister gets down the track all the way to the end. I am trying to get to the farmhouse, accomplishing all of these challenges before any of those negatives happen. There are 6 adventures to go through. And it takes you right through the movie. 100%. The IP and the mechanisms match here. This adventure book series is really neat. How you go through 6 scenes of the movie, and it's going to go through it in chronological order. So you feel like you've read this book about the movie that you're doing as you're playing through it. It's a cooperative game, so everybody will be playing together. Nobody has to be Dorothy or Tin Man or whatever. You're playing all of those characters on your turn. There's a lot of hand management in this, and playing these cards out and working together to meet the win-loss condition of each scenario as you're going through it. It's a very light game. It's probably on the easier side of cooperative games. I don't think we lost at all. Play it with your family, but any Wizard of Oz fans needs to check this one out. As for the IP and the mechanism, they would 100% go together, and it really works. And some of the things they do, like I really like the witch flying in the sky and riding out Surrender Dorothy. I like how they put that in this game. Some very inventive things that I like here in a light fashion. So winner for us, and the IP and the mechanisms definitely match.
All right, I got an email from someone. I'm going to keep it anonymous here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the email. They said that they think that games are getting too big and therefore too expensive. And when they bring this topic up, they said most of the time the response is fairly defensive. Like, board game companies are going to continue to do this because people keep buying them, which is a very true statement. Obviously, board game companies aren't going to do stuff if people don't do it. Right. Yeah. It's a luxury hobby. You don't need to be in this hobby, so therefore, suck it up, buttercup, essentially, there. And people like very nice things, therefore, it's that. And so this person was talking about how the hobby is getting more problematic for them because it's becoming a hobby increasingly of excess. And many people are financially struggling. We saw that this year, the inflation is going up, and games are getting really expensive, particularly on Kickstarter / GameFound. Sure. You go there, you buy a game, even sometimes the cheapest price is pretty pricey, and then there's this whole, get the deluxe version. You're not going to get it again if you don't. Many of these games, this used to be, all these games will eventually find their way to retail.
They don't.
Not happening now, for sure. I would say I feel like half are not going to retail. Maybe a little bit less, but still a lot of them. And so he says, it wasn't long ago that most games were the cost of one night out, or not too far beyond that. Now they're the cost of one day's work or multiple days' work. And that's definitely the truth of it. So this is kind of a weird thing for us to talk about in a sense because we push games.
Yeah.
Inevitably. We laud the games that we really love.
Sure. And even though I do back a lot of games, I can justify that because it's our job. And we do get...
And you have the library, yeah.
Right. So it's a very easy thing for me to justify. Although you all will know, I complain all the time anymore about these mega gigantic games that are taking up whole shelves of a library.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing. First of all, I don't think it's as bad as the email says, because while there are all these big giant games, there are still lots of smaller good games. Although I do feel like good small games is more of a rarity. Like how many games do you get excited about that are small these days? It's not that I'm opposed to small good games. I'm just not getting a lot of them. Most of the new releases are big, gigantic games. And they keep getting bigger, and they definitely get more expensive. And there definitely is a rush for everyone to brag about, look how high the pile is that I got. It's as tall as I am. Or look how big this box is. And I say this with full knowledge that Foundations of Rome is shipping right now.
Sure.
Okay? Which is one of these games. But it's not, it is, you know, when they first showed me the box for Foundations of Rome, I was like, that's immensely huge, too big. It's a little normal, comparatively.
I remember when I first saw the box of Gloomhaven, and I thought, this is it. This is peak levels of excess in the hobby. And now Gloomhaven doesn't look that daunting compared to some things.
It really doesn't. And we get these games, and they come with boxes, and there's tons of plastic, and they have upgraded the components. And I like this stuff. But it is making the hobby more expensive. Here's the thing. I can't fix it. I can't. Well, it's kind of like when I get mad about teenagers being on their phones all the time.
Sure.
It's not going to go away.
I cannot change that. I can change it for a few kids at the cost of very grudging arguments, you know. But you can't change something, so I can't change the hobby going in excess. And I don't even think railing against it a lot doesn't change anything either. But I do think it's something to be said, and if a few people listen, you don't have to have all the games. I say that all the time, and it really is true. If you're having a hard... For me, the number one thing is if you really like these big giant games and you really want to play these big giant games and you can't afford these big giant games, then make friends with someone who can. I know it sounds dumb.
No, I think that's a real thing. And there's so many used games out there. Like, we are very frugal when we buy games. We don't buy a lot of games. But Chris would just scour, you know, the Facebook marketplaces and those kind of things for years. And we found Gloomhaven for $40. It was missing a couple cards. We made it work. Like, there's so many games like that we've gotten. In fact, there was one guy that we kept running into getting free games from him because he kept giving away like one game at a time. And I don't know how it happened, but on like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, like we ended up running into the same guy multiple times.
It was weird. He's like, oh, you're the guy that I gave Kingdom Builder to. Here's Castle Burgundy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I brought $10 to give you. He's like, I don't care. I just want it out of my house.
All right, well,
Some people just want to get rid of themselves.
Don't necessarily look for that, okay? But you take avail of the Dice Tower library. You're always playing games from the library.
Yeah.
Rather than buying your own.
I do not want to buy it.
Weird. Cheap. No.
But, okay, so I know not everyone has access to the Dice Tower library, but almost everyone I know is in a game group, and there's someone in that game group who does have the disposable income.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't need to buy it. You're like, but what if they're not around? Well, then play a different game.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Twilight Imperium first came out, it was in that big box, which was, I thought, again, the pinnacle of boxing.
Yes.
And a friend of mine bought it, and I was like, why? We literally only ever play this game together. Why did you get it? He's like, well, just in case I ever move away. Like, then buy it then.
It might not be available, Tom.
Yeah. So, I don't mind all this stuff. For Kickstarters now, I now back them. I usually want them upgraded with the nice components, but I do not back the all-in pledges. I need to know if a game's good first.
Yeah.
Before we're putting more effort into it, because we've gotten many games in. We're like, and then it's just
so much.
And then getting rid of them. I mean, taking out that there's environmental concerns, space concerns, money concerns, and yes, I do think there is too much going on. That being said, I don't think it should always be criticized. If you have the disposable income and you want to buy something nice, spending $150 on a game as opposed to going out to eat at a really nice restaurant and going to see a Broadway show, which is more expensive than $150, is a legitimate thing.
The person's example in the email, I think, is really telling, because I think it's a good point. I absolutely agree with a lot of what the email says. But one person's night out is very different than another person's night out.
That's true.
And so for us, a night out was often getting like $1 street tacos and going to the dollar theater. You know, so our night out was $6.
I miss the dollar theaters.
Oh man, I know. But you know,
$2 theater.
So it's hard, but you do have to make choices depending on your situation. But we saved a lot of money. We saved a lot of stress by having a game group that did back, you know, amongst people, they would back different Kickstarters, and then not feeling the need to get too much, which helps, you know.
And we do that here in the Dice Tower, though, so keep an eye out for that. Yes, we review the big giant games, but we're also reviewing tons of other games. They might not catch your eye because they're not the big names in the hobby, but there's tons of little games out there. And when you go to board game flea markets, or if you come to Dice Tower East this summer, there's going to be hundreds of small games out there for a song. If you pay to go to Dice Tower East, you're going to get a lot of games for an inexpensive price if you want to. I know this.
For a song, you say. We're going to have the Bardic Clan show up now.
Chris is over there. Go sing for Chris. They sing Chris like,
a game.
I'm going to give that one $250 worth of credit.
I'll take that job.
That would be funny for a while. I think you'd get very tired of it after a while. Anyway, this is actually a much longer conversation, and not trying to, again, I want to be cautious here. I'm not criticizing people. I do think there are people, you should never spend beyond your means. That's a very basic financial principle. And so if you're buying Kickstarter games and you can't afford them, that's kind of on you. And you can't throw it back on us for talking about that the game is good. But at the same time, there is some responsibility for us to cover a wide variety of games, and I think we do. Like last week, Z reviewed another one of those wallet games. They're not expensive. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of these little games. I'm looking at the games I'm reviewing this week, and several of them are smaller games. Of course, some of them are garbage too, but some of the big games are garbage. So yes, I don't think people are being priced out of the hobby. I think that if you just look at the
super hot stuff.
Well, also the content creators, that's the stuff they're pushing. Remember, the vast majority of content creators are doing previews right now, and so they're going to push these big, giant Kickstarters. But hopefully there are several channels out there, and I hope the Dice Tower is one of them, where we're also talking a lot about games that are actually published and produced. And we're going to talk about all different shapes and sizes. So, pricing me out of the hobby, we're not there yet, but it's up to you to find that niche where you're comfortable.
Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk to you about Stellar Dixit Universe, and it is that Dixit Universe part that really got me excited for this game. You are effectively using Dixit cards, as it says on the box, and you are laying a grid of 15 cards out. Turning a word over from the deck, everyone is going to secretly write on their board which of the 15 cards they think associates with the word. Now, this sort of takes that pressure that some people find in Dixit of thinking of a word or phrase, and the deck just does that for you. Then you have the fun of Dixit, where how's your mind thinking that that card associates with that? And then, how did you miss this? For instance, we had one which was Paris, and there was a card with snails on it. France, Paris, snails. You'd think, at least we did, or two of us did out of the four, that everyone was going to pick that. Yet the only two of us made that connection. And it's got that brilliantness of, this is how my mind is working, maybe not how yours is, of Dixit, the beautiful artwork of Dixit, but it means those that didn't like the pressure of being the one in the spotlight, of saying the word or whatever, that's gone. And I think Stella will probably hit the table more as a result. Anyway, have you tried Stella? Let us know in the comment section below. And until next time, have a great breakfast.
So if you ever come visit us in Homestead, Florida, you're going to say, what is there to do? And we'll say, go to the Everglades.
Or play Games.
Rent a kayak.
Oh, kayaking, yeah.
Kayaking. We really enjoy kayaking in the Keys.
Sure, we also live near the Keys. But in Homestead itself,
Oh, yeah.
we have the Everglades. We have this place called Coral Castle, which I have never and will never go to.
We have the, not Key Biscayne, but Biscayne, the tiny national park.
No, that's not worth going
It's
to.
just a walk. It's a
not worth
cute
going
little
to.
walk by the ocean.
Not worth going to.
It is.
And we also have
It's also
Monkey
free.
Jungle, which is really expensive.
That's Kendall, isn't it?
Monkey Jungle is exit 16.
That's
Oh, you're right. That's not Homestead.
That's not Homestead anymore.
Well, let me tell you what Homestead does have. Robert is Here. So, Robert is Here is a fruit stand that is particularly close to Dice Tower Studio. Do not use that information to try to figure out what Dice Tower Studio is, okay? Although that is a pretty good... You now know within 5 miles of where we're at.
Yeah, you know
Homestead's not that big.
Now you know which quadrant of the country we reside in.
So Robert is Here is a fruit stand where this guy Robert, I guess when he was a kid, made this big sign called Robert is Here and sold fruit.
So the story is that his dad sat him on a corner to sell like some vegetable, and nobody bought the vegetable from him. So his dad put up the sign, Robert is Here, pointing at him, so that people would realize this kid is selling vegetables.
Got it. Well, he's kept it up, and he now sells fruit. And so if you ever go to this place, and you should if you come to Homestead, when someone asks me, I always say, go to Robert is Here. For one main reason, but that's... First, he sells exotic fruits from all over the world. He buys them from... Because here in Florida, we can grow this stuff. So if you want to know what mangosteen or what guanabana or what jackfruit tastes like, he has them. And they're all in different seasons. 2 is a little petting zoo out back. Not a petting zoo, just a little...
You can like
a feeding zoo, I guess.
feed them, yeah.
With animals, there's a splash pad. It's a place they have live music on weekends.
It's kind of a playground area for the kids to run around.
Yeah. There's an old helicopter they can climb in.
And sometimes Robert will come out and tell stories, which I've not stayed to listen to, but I've seen it happen. But
He looks like Santa Claus.
He really does. And what's interesting about Robert is Here is they absolutely refuse to use calculators or cash registers. If you buy from them, they will write all the prices out in a paper bag and add them up manually. I don't know why. I think it's probably one of his tics that he insists on doing. He sells all kinds of cool stuff, hot sauces. I get a lot of hot sauces from there.
A lot of stuff made of key lime.
Dressing.
Yes.
Yeah, key lime hot sauces, key lime.
You can buy key limes there.
You can buy key lime, so yeah.
But the number one thing that they sell are shakes. And that's why we tell people to go there, and it's actually a very dangerous thing to have this close to us. Although we don't get them as often as you think we might.
No.
That's true.
Because I very much make an effort not to grab a daily milkshake.
Well, they're also not open when you come into work.
Yes, I think that's a big part.
And they're closed if at 5. So if you leave at 5, like you're safe both ways.
Right.
But their milkshakes, straight up, are my favorite ever. And they're more like fruit shakes. Because you pick a fruit, there's a key lime, but there's also a lot of these exotic flavors there, and you can mix them. So I'll get like a key lime vanilla shake, or I'll get a key lime mango shake, or I don't know, I get a different one. I usually get key lime or something.
Was it pineapple? Pineapple vanilla has that. What's that thing people love at Disney?
Whip.
Dole
The Dole
Whip effect.
Yeah, it has that kind of flavor. I mean, there's so much good stuff.
I really like the guanabana. That's delicious.
That's what Mike gets. Yeah, that's
Mamey is really good.
And they make it with fresh fruit right there, and it's very famous. It's always
like
people there.
Chunky, pulpy fruit. Like you've got fruit in this thing. It's not juice. It is legit.
So anyway, if you ever come to Homestead, go there. It's worth it just for the shake alone. And we've had a lot of visitors here. We almost always get them that shake, or tell them to go there and get the shake. And I've yet to hear someone go, meh.
Yeah.
It's an experience for sure.
10 out of 10. Robert is Here, although their fruit is kind of expensive. But the shakes make it worth it.
Pricing me out of the fruit.
Hello, my name is Aaron, and welcome to One Word, One Question. Today's word is phone. Now, I don't know about you, but isn't it kind of annoying when you're trying to interact with someone and they're constantly checking their phone? Oh, hey, one sec. That's funny. Anyway, so today's question is, how much do you tolerate phones during board game sessions? Answer A, if you don't tolerate them at all, you have a strict no phones policy. Answer B, if it depends on the situation or the game. And answer C, if you really don't care either way. Now, as for myself, I am once again in the middle, Group B, because for me it depends on the game. So if we're playing just a light party game or a quick card game, I don't really care so much if people are on their phones. But if we're sitting down and playing something that's 40 minutes or more, like Dominion or Seven Wonders, I'm going to get a little bit annoyed if you're constantly delaying the game because you don't realize it's your turn, things like that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And hi, look at that. I got a notification. It says, please subscribe to the Dice Tower. Well, that's kind of awkward. I already did that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye.
Hey folks, and welcome to the final FOMO. Now, it's been a hot minute, but this is the last FOMO. I am going to be doing a new segment. I'll put some notes down there about that. But the final FOMO game is going to be Hamlet, a city building and tile laying game. We're all working to build this little hamlet and construct this church. Now, I'm normally a fan of games that we're working towards a common goal sort of thing, but someone's going to be the winner versus a pure co-op. And that is what this is. But in a game that looks and feels familiar, like an older title, but is fresh. They really capture the essence of building this city, and I adore it. Every time I've played, the city feels completely different. Now, on some levels, what I loved here was the fact that there are all these different shapes. I love saying, take my donkey action. I love it. The real shine, though, is though it is a competitive game, that whole working together to build the hamlet really shines. And the cool thing here is I could have this massive turn where I just do so many actions and I get all these resources and I build things, but I leave something for someone else to do. And maybe they're looking at me and go, I'm so glad you did that because now I'm going to clean up, because the resources on the board are shared pool. And what resources I leave and generate are available for other people. So you get this camaraderie. Now, on the other hand, the one potential downside is it does mean it's hard to plan your turn. For me, that's not a problem. I normally don't plan my turn until it is my turn. But I can see how that might be an issue for some people. Overall, for me, I love Hamlet. It was on Kickstarter a bit ago. It is now in Pledge Manager only for this coming 10-day period, which as of this video might be almost over. So if you want it, go check it out. If you want to watch how to play, Meeple University did a lovely one. And I'll see you folks again with my new segment.
Alrighty. Well, we still have 34 more subscribers. I was going to send out a message to all our subscribers, and then I thought, I kind of doesn't. So, yeah.
Please consider subscribing to the Dice Tower.
Please make another account to subscribe to the Dice Tower.
Alrighty. Well, maybe we'll hit it today. That'll be exciting. Folks, anyhow, thanks so much for watching. Thanks to all our contributors. We got a lot of stuff we're doing. I'm excited about the future here. The top 100 next week, so keep that in mind. If you do like our show and you do want to know about different things that happen, consider subscribing to our newsletter, DicetowerDigest.com. You can go there and subscribe, and that goes out bi-weekly. We'll never give your information to somebody else. Also, what was that thing I was going to say? Oh,
Shoots and Marbles.
Shoots and Marbles is not tomorrow. Normally it's on Tuesday, but because of various reasons, we've moved it to Friday morning.
Okay.
So if you...
Oh, that means I'll be here.
You will be here. I think it's like 10 a.m. So it's early. You'll get a chance that maybe you can't normally watch it at its time frame, and maybe you're in another country and that time works better for you, or worse. No, I don't know.
We're going to have that much energy on a Friday morning.
I got two new bonuses involved to try out.
I got energy now. Let's do it.
Alrighty. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Have fun buying games. Or not.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.